Hello, my name is Amelia Peel, and today I'll be talking about the integration of technology in the classroom. So, here's a brief description and with more detail of what I'll be talking about today. So, I'll have an intro of the 3 interviewed persons, and then I'll give you a review about each of those individual teachers and their responses. I have a lesson plan critique, and I have a checklist, and then I have a summary at the end. So here's who I interviewed. Person A is Miss Cuffy. She's a music teacher. Person B is Mr. Gill. He's a music teacher. And finally, person C is Miss Cuffy, and that's person A's sister, who is also a music teacher. So I pretty much interviewed only music teachers for this assignment. So when I did the survey, I used SurveyMonkey. I was not able to speak with the individuals face to face, so I found that this was the easiest way, and I recorded their answers through SurveyMonkey. So first question that I gave, and before I go on, there were only 5 questions that I gave, that I provided them. I didn't want to bog them down with too many questions, because I know that we all have things that we have to do, and they were doing this out of the kindness of their heart, so I didn't give them too many questions. So I only gave them 5. So question 1 is, does your school provide technological resources? And this one's a multiple choice when I gave the options of yes, no, and sometimes. As you can see, each answer was chosen. Person A said no, person B said sometimes, person C said yes. Number 2, how do you/would you integrate the use of technology in the classroom? Person A said, depending on the lesson, I would use technology when teaching my students how to play a song on the electric keyboard, to listen to Duke Ellington and his orchestra play Mood Indigo, and Count Basie and his orchestra play All of Me. Having the students create a Venn diagram to explain the similarities and differences between the 2 great jazz musicians, and use Finale, a music software for music notation and composition, as well as assessments. Person B said, once I have gone over the basic information, I might use technology to practice the given tasks. Person C said, when we have our classroom set up where during class an administrator is keeping a watchful eye on the class while I teach. If a student is off task, the administrator will text me through a school-provided computer which student is not focused. I also use the Promethean when teaching a lesson. 3. How well do your students perform with technological help versus none? Person A said, my students perform very well with technological help, but they have been taught to perform very well without first. Person B said, I have had students to have great success with the help of technology with some lessons. Some things can take longer to learn without the technological help. Person C said, I see that it helps them tremendously. They are already so tech savvy that when I use the computer with them, they are more productive. Question 4. When collaborating with coworkers, have you learned of new methods and or resources of technological use? If so, please name some of them. Person A said, when collaborating with coworkers, we use technology to monitor students' behavior, Kickboard, academic performance, Finale, and for assessments. Person B said, I can't say at the moment. Person C said, one thing that I have used a lot when collaborating is the Promethean board. I find that it is perfect when sharing data and doing presentations. The Promethean board is a wonderful tool that we all can benefit from. I've learned that I can have the kids come up and write on the board as a way to connect them with the lesson. Finally, question 5. Do you believe that integration of technology is important for teaching and preparing 21st century students? Person A said, while I do believe that integration of technology can be important for teaching and preparing students for the future, I also believe that it is imperative that the 21st century students are taught the basics first. So person A pretty much sees the benefit from both technology and also not using technology. Person B says the integration of technology can be important if everything is set up properly. Person C does believe that it's important for the students to be pretty much technologically savvy, as she put in a previous question, in order for them to be successful. So here's the lesson plan from Miss Cuffy, the first one, person A, that I looked over. And so what I noticed, hands off, she's doing the do-re-mi lesson. This do-re-mi is solfege that can be taught to students in order to learn how to read music. It's one of the ways to read music. And what I like is that she included a laptop and the materials needed, and the song, the do-re-mi song, their video, which can be found through YouTube. Now, I remember person A is the person that said that she does not have any technological resources from her school. So seeing her use a laptop, which is probably hers, and using YouTube in order to engage the students is really a wonderful thing. She's using what she has at the moment in order for the students to be successful. So here's my checklist of 5 items and or questions that I see fit in order to prepare students, or actually to prepare myself for my lesson dealing with technology. Number 1, how does this help the students progress? 2, how is this connected to my lesson? 3, what will my students gain from this? 4, here's the item, internet. It is very important to have the internet, especially if you're trying to share videos from resources such as Discovery Kids or PBS Kids or even YouTube. And finally, 5, how does this help my students with disabilities? And here's a summary of the interviews that I gave. So after reviewing the answers of each individual, I noticed that not every school provides the resources that students need to compete with one another academically. Because of the disadvantages posed upon children from certain communities, opportunities may not come for them as easily. What I liked from person A is that even though she did not have the resources for her students, she did not use that as an excuse. You have to make a way for your students' success, especially if your school and or school system does not provide up-to-date resources for success. For my students, I do the best that I can technology-wise. I use a projector that is connected to the school-provided computer and use my hotspot so that I can show my students videos connected to the lesson. I use Clever, which is a website that provides different apps for students to use, such as Microsoft 365, KidBlock, and Discovery Kids. So this wraps up my video for today. I want to thank you for watching it.